Hi, welcome to Your Inside Power. My name's Patricia Stepler. I want to start today with this quote by one of my favorite authors, Wallace D. Wattles, and it says, "To look at the appearance of poverty will produce the corresponding forms in your own mind. Instead, hold the truth that there is no poverty, there is only abundance." Now, that quote is not just dealing with money, it's dealing with everything. You see, one of the things that I realize is that there is an enormous amount of information that tells us about how the mind works. The problem is that nobody teaches us about this information. So we go through years and decades and lifetimes without realizing that if we'd have just understood this information, we could have had a completely different type of life. So that's what I want to go over today is why, first of all, why is this not taught? Well, if people don't know, they're not aware. And we're going to talk about the 7 levels of awareness. The other thing I want you to realize is that sometimes people are teaching something, but they've never done it themselves. And everything I'm teaching you today, I have gone through at some point in my life. There are certain laws in the universe, and ignorance of knowing them does not mean they don't work for us. The laws of the universe work for everybody the exact same way. If you do not know these laws and you ignore them through ignorance, that doesn't mean they're not impacting your life. And they can impact you in a positive way or a negative way. They can have the good that you desire because you stumble upon some of these laws and they just happen to fall into place, which is exactly what happened to me in a couple of instances in my life. And what happened to my son when he got a scholarship, stumbled upon the laws of the universe, did not know them, therefore you can't repeat the information. Once you know the information, you can repeat it every single time that you follow the law. So understanding these laws is of prime importance to change your life. Human personality, understanding how and why that works. One of the greatest aspects, along with understanding these laws, was understanding the 4 basic types of people. And when you understand that, you can relate to them so much better. And it's not that people are in one of those 4 groups, they're a mix. Everybody's a mix of those 4 groups. Once you understand how that person likes to be communicated with or how that person thinks, you can deal with them in a much better way. And that is huge when it comes to leadership skills. So if you know the laws of the universe, how the mind works, and you understand the personalities, you can accomplish so much more as a leader. My understanding this enabled me to, first of all, understand why people were putting me in leadership roles, but it also helped me to be able to work more effectively with people and be more understanding, more empathetic with them once I understood what drove them and what necessarily did not necessarily drive me. So let's look at these levels of awareness and keep in mind that the laws of the universe operate on frequencies, just like everything else. This whole world operates in frequencies. Everything is energy. It's operating in a different level of intensity. As you start to move through these levels of awareness, you are actually moving higher frequencies. And as you move to those higher frequencies, the world starts to look different to you. You start to understand things that you did not understand when you were at a lower frequency. When we start the first level of frequency, it's more like an animalistic frequency. And that's basically what it's called, the animal. This is when that's fight or flight. We think back to animals and how they react to different situations. They fight or they'll leave. And that's basically the first level. Young children will do this. They'll either fight or they'll leave. They're not aware that they can do anything else. And so it's always a reactionary thing. When you move to the next level, it's called masses. And this is when we conform. We want to be like everybody else. We maybe dress the same way. We act the same way. You'll see this happening in schools because children don't want to be ostracized, so they will conform to the norm. And we all do it. This is why we eat lunch at about the same time. We tend to do the same type of activities. We tend to think the same way. Culture, when you think of culture in a business, culture is very much mass thought. And when we continue with that mass thought, we don't have much variety. This is where we start forming those habits. Now, some habits are ones that are generation. They've been passed down to us from our parents and grandparents and great-grandparents. And they're things we just tend to do. Traditions you have at the holidays, that would be something that would be passed down from generation, habits that you do. Those you can change, those you can just keep going. All moving in masses is habitual. And you want to be like everybody else and go and be around and be like others. Historically, when you follow the masses, you tend to go in the wrong direction. Why? Because you're not thinking for yourself. And this is why people get stuck. They keep doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. And that's what has been called by Einstein insanity. That's being stuck in the masses. The amount of money one earns is based on their habitual thought patterns or their paradigms, and that has to go with the relationship of money. When I was a child, my mom would often look at people that lived on we lived up on a hill, but there were people that lived on another hill on the other side of town, and they tended to be very wealthy. And so she would make that kind of comment. Well, they live on the other side of the town, or they live on the other side of the tracks, some people say. And she was always comparing to what more wealthy people were, instead of thinking, how can I get there? That's what most people do in masses. When I decided what I was going to do in college, I looked at my family background. I'm a third generation educator. I was following the masses. When I went into the educational world, I was following the masses. I got into that group think. This is what there is. There's no way to earn more money. We're on a salary schedule. And that's mass think. When we get into that mass think, we get stuck. When we shift our thinking, that's when we can shift our actions, shift our behaviors, and get out of that herd mentality. That's the third level. When you aspire to do something more, to be something more, to have something more, this is where those wants come in. You have a desire to be greater than you are today. Some people never go beyond that. They aspire for something greater, but they never reach for it and they never go after it because they don't believe it's attainable. And as long as you don't think you can attain that desire, it's just a wish and you just stay in this area. You want to do something more. You don't know how, and you don't believe that it can happen for you. And so you never go beyond. The fourth level is when we look at individual. And at this level, you've gone through that, you aspire something, and you decide you want to be somebody unique. You don't want to follow the masses. You don't want to be like everybody else. You want to be your own unique person. And you know what? We are all unique. Just like a snowflake, they're all different. So are we. And I mentioned that in the last episode, seeing people in a line and realizing every single person, billions of people in this world, and no two look alike. Even twins won't look exactly alike. We're all unique. So we go to that uniqueness. And here's where we really have to depend on the laws of the universe. When we understand that they are so precise, you cannot change them. You cannot alter them. They work for everybody the same way. And those laws are precise, and you must decide what it is that you want. And then you have to dedicate your life to going after it. So you have to change your actions. Most generally think of all the reasons why they can't do it. We live in a very negative world. Things are happening all the time around us that generally are not very pleasant. Because we live in that negative world, we tend to go towards why we can't do something instead of why we can. You must shift your thinking to believe why you can. Write down all the reasons why you can do something. You may find that you have to discover a new talent inside of you, but here's the thing. I totally believe, and I've seen this happen over and over again with clients and with people, if you are given an idea of something that you want, you have that desire, you have that aspiration to be better, you also have everything inside of you to make it happen. Might require finding some new skills and talents that maybe you're unaware of right now, but if you have a goal and a dream, you can accomplish it. You don't have to worry about whether you can or not. You wouldn't even have that idea if you could not accomplish it. You just have to believe. And sometimes that's the hardest thing. What happens at this level when you go to be unique and you go to aspire something great? Sometimes you will wonder whether you can do it. But the other thing that happens is those people that are in the masses on level 2, now you're up on level 4, they will try to pull you back in and pull you back down. So be very, very careful who you talk to about your aspirations and your desires to be unique. Most people are not going to be out there supporting you because they want to keep you down. You see, if you get ahead, then how are they going to look? If you aspire to something greater and you start talking about it and you become unique, that makes them look bad. So they will try to pull you back down. Don't let them. Keep going. And when you go to the next level, which is the decision, you've decided, you've gone from that wish to disciplining yourself to be able to get it. Now, that word discipline sometimes can have a negative connotation to it. We often think about disciplining a child or being disciplined when you're in school, and that's usually very negative. I want you to think of discipline this way: telling yourself what it is you want and allowing yourself to go after it. So it's a different kind of discipline. It's getting your mind so focused on that goal and telling yourself over and over and over again that you can do it. Whatever affirmations you need, whatever positive statements you need, you are disciplining yourself. This is what I'm doing, and this is why I'm doing it, and you go after it. Once you do that, you are going to connect yourself with a whole nother part of you, because you're going to be starting to go from the inside out, inside power. You're going to use your inside power. That's the only way you can do it. And you have to be willing and able to break away from those people in the masses. They're trying to hold you back. Make up your mind who you want to be, the kind of person you need to be in order to get to that goal, that want or desire, you're going to have to change something. If you were the person you are today to get that goal, you'd already be there. So you are going to have to change something in order to reach that goal. Make up your mind what it is. What do you need to be? Who do you need to inspire? And that's all at level 5, the discipline. Once you get there, you're going to start to rely on experiences, and your experiences are going to change your actions. Just like we're all unique people, each of us has gone through different things in our lives. No two people have gone through the exact same thing. Even if you've lived in the same household, you have not gone through the same experiences. So rely on that. You've got to go through certain experiences. Don't compare yourself to anybody else. Don't say, well, they got there so quickly and it's taking me forever. They've gone through different things already in their lives that have prepared them. You see, I believe that everything that happens to you happens for a reason and is preparing you for the next thing that you need. So there are things you're going to have to go through. There are going to be heartaches. There's going to be struggles. There's going to be roadblocks put in your way. It has to be that way because you have to have different experiences in order to accomplish that desire. I've seen this in my own business. I had no business background. There were things I had to go through, things I had to understand in order to get to that goal. There were times when it was painful, times I lost way too much money trying something that did not work. And yet it had to happen because I don't know of any business that just started out and had no trials or tribulations. We all have to go through some type of experiences. Just realize that that's just a step along the way. Keep going. So that's level 6. Once you get to level 6, you will be starting to get to level 7, which is mastery. Mastery is when you've learned to respond. You're no longer reacting to situations, you're thinking. Maybe for the first time in your life, you're really thinking and using all the intellectual faculties that we have, such as your memory, going back and thinking about what in the past or what happened before that you don't want to repeat, or what happened that you do want to repeat, using your imagination, using your perception. Perception is just super important because you have got to go away from thinking that the mass thought that you had is the only thought. There are many different things out there and different ways to think and different ways to look at a situation. And you have to start learning that one perception is not always the best, and start realizing that there are other thoughts out there that you might need to consider. So shifting, when you can shift and use those 7 levels of awareness and start to get to mastery, that can impact your business. How does the levels of awareness impact a business? Well, first of all, it gives us commitment and it gives us something to look forward to. When you shift your thinking, you start to shift your point of views and you start to realize what can happen when there's uncertainty. Businesses and business people that have gone to that mastery level are much more agile when something happens. They're ready and able to shift. They're ready to try something different, take a risk, because they have a better understanding. Businesses and leaders at this level also embrace change and opportunities. One way, especially in today's world, you see how quickly technology changes. And just that one thing you have to be willing and able to change and be quick to understand that that's something that's going to happen if you're going to grow and innovate your business in multiple ways. Building a company that can adapt to change in circumstances and is very agile is going to keep you on the cutting edge in this world. Encourage and learn and promote a culture of learning. My son recently started working with a new company, and one of the things that they do in this company is they have a budget for every employee to take classes. Some of them are within the company, some of them, you can go outside the company and use the money that way. He's taken full advantage of it and wants to take full advantage of it because he knows in the field that he's in, if he doesn't stay on the cutting edge and doesn't learn and know the most recent technology, that's going to hurt him as an employee. Wouldn't you love to have all your employees like that? And yet in this company, it is, I think he told me like 30% of the people in that company that take advantage of that money. You want to build a culture where you're teaching people and they're learning things and they want to grow and expand, because that's going to help your business in the long run. It helps people to be open to new ideas and approaches and adjust what they're doing. For myself, as I said earlier, learning personalities made such a huge adjustment. So it doesn't have to be technology all the time. It can be something in understanding and working better with other people. When you learn and your mind is open to new ideas, you're better able to pivot when you need to, so that you're not a dinosaur in the business world. You'll make better informed decisions. You'll respond to challenges. In fact, you might even have some employees look forward to trying to figure out how to get around some of those challenges. You become creative and you become very adaptable. And that's what you need, because everything is moving so quickly now. Businesses 5 years ago do not look like businesses today. And if they do, they are becoming dinosaurs for sure. Why do CEOs and leadership teams need coaches like myself, executive coaches, to help them keep on that cutting edge, to help them stay attuned to what they need to, and to make sure that they are adapting to change? And so that's why I work with clients and work with CEOs and business owners, entrepreneurs, to help them to stay on that cutting edge and keep their mind looking for those opportunities instead of looking for all the obstacles. When you show willingness to your team of people to learn something and to work with a coach that can help you, then you help to build the resilience that's needed for your company. In the face of uncertainty, and there's a lot of uncertainty out there right now, you will be resilient. And it gives you stability for your business and for your employees. They see that. And so the impact will inspire leadership teams to have trust. And if you don't have trust in your business, you're in a lot of trouble, because people have to feel that they can trust the leaders. When you have, when you embrace the mind changing, it impacts that trust. It inspires your teams to do greater things. It fosters commitment, which will keep retention, and it makes people accountable, which helps those employees that maybe see some people getting away with things that they can't. If everybody is kept accountable, and you'll get better results. So if that's what you're looking for in your business, reach out to me and let's connect and see if we're a good fit to work together. And I can help you to make a blueprint of where your goals are and how to get there and to reach them and deal with the people on your team. biggest thing is what Wallace D. Wattles says. To look upon the appearance of poverty will produce a corresponding form in your own mind. Instead, hold the truth that there is no poverty. There is only abundance. Whatever it is, you want to shift your thinking, hold in your mind what it is that you want, not what you don't want. Keep your vision for where you're headed and what that desire is. As soon as you let that fall off and you let those masses try to pull you back down, it ain't gonna work. And that's when you stay stuck. Sounds very easy. I wish it was just that simple to do. It takes work, it takes practice, it takes understanding, it takes awareness, it takes understanding of the laws of the universe. It's something you have to study every single day. So if you're ready, let me know, and I will be more than happy to have a chat with you and see how I can help you and your business to go beyond projections, financial projections, and not accept mediocrity from yourself or anybody that works with you.